If you thought reality TV couldn't get much dirtier, you're mistaken. Hold on tight. What if I revealed a secret to you? So explosive that it might destroy friendships, professions, and marriages all at once. Officially, Rasheeda has blown the lid off. Alleged hidden pregnancy is one of the most juicy stories in recent memory. Mendy witnesses Yandy sobbing and crying in front of the world due to the startling participation. How long has this been festering in private? Nobody knew how, when, or what Rasheeda obtained these information before everyone else. Picture the drama, the late-night rendezvous, the enigmatic automobiles, the whispered messages, and then all of a sudden, everything is leaked by a trustworthy buddy. Fans are picking sides, hashtags are trending, and the internet is humming, more quickly than you can say meltdown in hip-hop and love. Did Tamar's secret merely fall through the cracks, or was this prearranged? Fractures, what is Mendy's reaction to the shocking revelation? And above all, what does Yandy, who is now publicly distraught, stand to gain from this? We're dissecting the scandal layer in this video by layer. The aftermath, the tears, the secrets, and the lies. Nothing is forbidden. A plot so complex you'll need to buckle up to see it unfold, along with surprising surprises and unique insider information. You'll learn the truth behind the headlines at the end of this film, so pay attention. Believe me, it's even messier than you think. As soon as Rasheeda entered the scene, the tension was evident. She was well known for her candid observations and remarkable talent for revealing the most intimate secrets in the reality TV industry. Pay attention. Oh, she did not let me down this time. Sources near for weeks, there had been hints of drama, a revelation that would rock the hip-hop and love world to its core. Here it was. Tamar's covert pregnancy was made public by Rasheeda. A surprise no one anticipated. But Tamar isn't the only character in the narrative. It concerns Mendy's perception of Yandy's whispered resentment and the trust that has been abruptly broken. Everything started long before the internet blew up. Ever the mysterious diva, Tamar had been seen several times in Mendy's late-night vehicle. Motions so subtle that the impending storm would go unnoticed by casual viewers. However, insiders witnessed it. They saw the cryptic phone, the hushed chats, and the regular encounters. The calls always seemed to come and go as fast as they came. Additionally, Tamar attempted to conceal her secret beneath wraps. Rasheeda had her sources and was constantly on guard and connected. They weren't just rumors. These individuals were part of the inner circle, the quiet observers who took note of every hand motion, every muttered remark, and every gaze. Then the leak appeared. Rasheeda's unique combination of with boldness and accuracy, the pregnancy and its complex web were made visible. She described meetings, voice recordings, text messages, and other evidence all suggested that Tamar had a purpose for concealing her pregnancy. And who was involved? Of course, Mendy notices. The whispers implied. Interactions that couldn't last, enigmatic drop-offs, and late-night meetings concealed. Social internet was rocked by every fact Rasheeda revealed. Fans were taken aback, and the headlines were, "The drama had just begun, and it had been altered." However, Yandy, who is renowned for her poise, her strength, and her steadfast devotion. Few people could have predicted seeing her meltdown. Rasheeda's the disclosures struck close to home for Yandy, not just for the fans. As the information surfaced, footage showed Yandy tears were running down her cheeks as she tried to comprehend the accusations and the treachery, which seemed to go well beyond what the general public knew, could observe. Now there were layers to the story. It was more than merely Tamar's pregnancy. It was about trust, deceit, and the instantaneous unraveling of several lives by a single secret. In the meantime, the digital world exploded. Hashtags such as Rasheeda Exposes, our TMR Pregnancy League, and a Yandy Breakdown started to gain popularity on several media. Every angle was examined by fans. Did Tamar really become pregnant? Did Mendeecees really play a role? Did Yandy know? Rasheeda skillfully used pieces of leaked material to feed the never-ending curiosity. Released in a way that maximizes engagement and shock. Each additional piece of information adds a layer of tension, another chance for public discussion, and an additional incentive for people to keep watching the story as it develops. The alleged voice notes and video clips Rasheeda claimed to have acquired added to the mystery. In one, and especially, startling discovery was a late-night party video that went viral, capturing Tamar and Mendy's exchanges during what seemed to be a furious argument. More personal than the untrained eye may anticipate. Rasheeda highlighted the faint yet distinct indications of tension, implying that Tamar's intentions were maybe premeditated, purposeful, and loaded with desire to affect her results rather than just being motivated by love. Favor. In the meanwhile, bits of Yandy's responses highlight the human cost of secrets and treachery. She cried not just because of the circumstance, but also because she understood that even her closest loved ones can have secret fears. Plans. Rasheeda's story did not develop in a straight path. It was disorganized, sentimental, and disorganized, much like the actual world. The secret meetings, the layers of secrecy, and the private communications all depicted a drama that was equally captivating and startling. New questions arose with each disclosure. Tamar had been keeping the secret for how long? Did anybody else participate? What would Mendeecees do in a legal, private, and public setting? Above all, how would Yandy handle the perilous terrain of sorrow, treachery, and loyalty? Rasheeda made references to past conflicts that can give the current storm perspective in order to fan the flames. Power dynamics, financial leverage, and manipulations were said to have existed long before the pregnancy ever occurred. Play. Her sources claimed that while Tamar's had long been a subject of conjecture, Mendeecees' decisions were frequently made with the intention of gaining advantage and influence. Yandy, a cornerstone of the group, got caught in the crossfire. Stability and loyalty were abruptly thrown into the spotlight, and she had to deal with a story she never thought she would encounter. Theories were all over social media. Every blogger had a source, every pundit had a hot take, and every fan had an opinion. Tamar was supported by others who said she was perfectly entitled to privacy protection. Others chastised Mendy for raising doubts about his loyalty and decisions. And Yandy turned into a representation of fortitude in the face of controversy. However, at the same time, the spectators most people could relate to. This narrative has hitherto unheard of emotional depths, combining public treachery with personal betrayal sight that few could overlook. Nevertheless, one thing stood out amidst all the confusion. Rasheeda had masterfully crafted a contemporary exposé by highlighting emotional reactions, disclosing specifics only when necessary, and she made her revelations at the ideal moment. She kept audiences interested while maintaining narrative control. Each piece, the stolen movies, the private messages, the late-night encounters, was carefully chosen to have the greatest possible impact, emphasizing both the human drama and the disputes that lie behind it. It was outrageous, shocking, and completely engrossing. When Rasheeda revealed more of her discoveries, the situation only became worse. Yandy's obvious anguish grew. Supporters could observe the toll it was having. On live streaming, there are times of near breakdown, trembling palms, and sobbing answers. Tamar's public remarks, meanwhile, were cautious, her partial or complete refusal recognition that feeds rumors even more. Mendy observes that he has mostly kept quiet, which has increased the creating suspense and leaving viewers with an open-ended story. Each small gesture, each post, each the response was examined, evaluated, and transformed into content for various platforms. When the program ended, viewers were departed with more queries than solutions. The pregnancy leak was only the first step. The consequences, the intentions, and much more profound disclosures were anticipated due to the emotional consequences. What had begun as murmurs was now a full-fledged controversy, with Rasheeda at its core leading viewers through a maze of treachery, secrets, and startling revelations. And one thing became quite evident as everyone watched. The tale was far from finished. As Rasheeda started to expose more details about the narrative, including Tamar's secret, the drama only grew more intense. Pregnancy, as well as the repercussions it had on everyone's life. Now, the public was demanding information. With fan theories, memes, and conjecture ranging from the believable to the downright ridiculous exploding on social media. However, the pregnancy itself wasn't the only thing that made this leak explosive. It was the network of interactions, falsehoods, and treachery that moment. Tamar purportedly learned her pregnancy and the ways in which she concealed it from Yandy and the whole world. One that is especially startling, Rasheeda's video footage provided the revelation. Mendeecees and Tamar were seen in the video at an extravagant party. A few weeks before the disclosure, Mendeecees was heard mumbling something to Tamar on the video, which caused a very emotional reaction on her part. Rasheeda hypothesized that Tamar may have realized the stakes were higher than she had first thought at this point. Expected. Yandy, however, had a sorrowful response to these occurrences after learning about them. Rasheeda recounted her friend's sobs, her faltering speech, and her efforts to deal with uncertainty and betrayal while keeping the she is renowned for her composure in public. Rasheeda continued after that. She sent an SMS. Screenshots of messages purportedly exchanged between Tamar and Mendy that allude to the pregnancy and their private conversations on how to respond to it. "We have to be careful. No one can know, yet," one of the purported messages said. "I can't keep this from Yandy much longer, but she can't know everything," read another note purportedly from Tamar. Whether completely real or somewhat fabricated, these bits of information sparked a flurry of conjecture. Time was trampled, underlined, and carefully exposed in Rasheeda's presentation, which created tension and made viewers find it almost difficult to turn away. Reactions on social media went viral right away. Supporters questioned Tamar's intentions, wondering if she was indeed pregnant or if she was using the circumstance to get notoriety or power. Memes that combined comedy with incredulity were all over Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. The hashtags Yandy, Rasheeda exposes, and TMR pregnancy Yandy breakdown trended within hours, turning the incident into a full-blown cultural phenomenon. Commenters speculated, discussing anything from possible legal consequences to whether this discovery may affect prospective projects and collaborations. Bloggers scrutinized every viewpoint, some agreeing with Tamar, others defending Yandy, and some portraying Mendeecees as the key figure of deceit. Rasheeda added a wrinkle by disclosing information regarding Tamar's strategic relationships that had not been disclosed before. Mendy observes, she said that Tamar had maintained power over her by using charm, strategic gestures, and precise timing. The story, all the while concealing her pregnancy. Rasheeda even alluded to financial scheming, saying that behind the scenes, Tamar may have been bargaining leverage, although Rasheeda did not confirm these. However, the hints were plenty to ignite a flurry of fan debate over the moral ramifications and possible outcomes. Yandy's emotional journey, meanwhile, remained the main focus of the story. Rasheeda recounted incidents when contradicting information, denials, and emotional manipulation were encountered when Yandy tried to approach the problem calmly. Rasheeda once posted a video in which Yandy was shown sitting at her house sobbing while reading messages and heard tapes that corroborated some of Rasheeda's disclosures. Raw tears were pouring down Yandy's cheeks, unvarnished and incredibly genuine, which stands in sharp contrast to the polished public persona she usually presents. It became evident remind audiences that the scandal's emotional toll was equally as important as its social and relationship repercussions. A. Rasheeda mentioned wider ramifications in addition to personal consequences. According to her, the industry insiders were now keeping a tight eye on the issue, expecting contracts, sponsorships, reality show appearances, and other possible interruptions. According to some unnamed insiders, producers were worried about how the leak would affect storylines, production schedules, as well as popular opinion. From a personal issue, the tale had escalated into a major entertainment disaster. As several parties attempt to manage friendships, reputations, and possible financial consequences, the story kept getting thicker with rumors of covert meetings and hushed altercations. Rasheeda explained, "There have been reports of Tamar seeing Mendeecees in secret settings without cameras, but she left behind proof that Rasheeda's team said acquired. Every interaction, every hushed exchange, and every crazy event contributed to the jigsaw in Rasheeda's shocking revelation. The detailed timetable captivated fans who attempted to put together the story themselves, but Rasheeda remained in charge of the information flow." Rasheeda also emphasized the psychological factors involved. A complicated web of tension and emotion was produced by Tamar's covert plan, Mendy's concealment, and Yandy's allegiance. The tension between private connections and public appearances was nearly palpable to the audience. Realizing that each action carried repercussions that go much beyond what the average person may anticipate, Rasheeda highlighted trust and the personal cost. Broken, friendships put to the test, and personal feelings used as a weapon in a high-stakes game of public intrigue. By the middle of this section of the tale, it was clear that the whole landscape had changed as a result of the leak. The pregnancy of Tamar was no longer only a private concern. Numerous people's lives, careers, and reputations were impacted by this flashpoint. A private secret has been turned into a show of intense emotion, legal speculative activity, and social media mayhem by Rasheeda's admissions. Because they were always waiting for the next leak, the next video, or the next communication that would compound an already volatile situation, viewers were left on edge. Circumstance. As the section came to an end, Rasheeda alluded to other profound disclosures that are still to come. She hinted to more material, such as purported witness statements, more messages, and fresh video footage that would give the scandal additional background. There was a noticeable tension. Viewers were aware that the third portion will bring the narrative to its dramatic conclusion, providing revelations, shock, and maybe even resolution to a tale that has enthralled followers worldwide. The tension escalated to a boiling pitch as the drama developed. Section 3 of Rasheeda's exposé went beyond simply rehashing earlier revelations. It thrust the audience right into the thick of the emotional storm. Fans were riveted to their TVs as the stakes increased with each revelation. Ever the master of suspense, Rasheeda started removing the last few layers of the plot out of sheer desperation to see how it would all come together, revealing Tamar's covert pregnancy's startling, emotional repercussions, convoluted motivations, and unfiltered human emotions.